Hi, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new vlog. I just thought I'd come on here because I've actually done my hair and my face for a change. So I just thought I'd film this intro while I wasn't in my dressing gown, I wasn't in my pyjamas, I wasn't making candles, and I actually looked half presentable. So if you are new around here, my name's Vicky and I run a blog called Bella Blogs. It's mostly a travel channel, but recently I've been talking about setting up a business and a brand. My business is called Scent From Candles and it's a scented candle business inspired by travel and places from all over the world. So if travel and home decor is your kind of thing, or just general like cheesy vlogs, then hit that subscribe button. I'd love you to stay around and join us. So today is Saturday, it's the week before Christmas and starting to get excited now. I had a really cheesy Christmas jumper arrive this week, which is really cool. But in this video, I'm going to come back in a few days' time and talk to you more about the admin kind of responsibilities in running a business, behind the scenes on Etsy, how to download your CSV files and get all your sales and your profit, etc. from Etsy. Also how to arrange your listings so that they look decent. Mine doesn't at the moment. And generally just day-to-day admin tasks with taxes and things like that, which will hopefully help you run your small business smoothly. Good morning, everybody. I just thought I'd come in and have a quick bed chat. It sounds really strange, and I don't know if this is because I'm a little bit of an empath, or whether I just feel awful all the time for other people, for everything that goes on in the world. So here's a little bit like of a quick background about me. So my dad worked for the humanitarian sector, if you like Save the Children and Oxfam, all the charities then that you typically think go out and help the poor, them sorts of people. Now, my dad worked in safety and security. So like I'm talking anti-ambush, I'm talking terrorists, I'm talking hijack and kidnap, all of that sort of stuff to prevent it happening. Anyway, like he's got a book coming out anyway, and when it's out I'll tell you more about it. But my point is is because of his career and because of how high alert he's had to be for so many years, that's sort of been instilled in me. And I think it's an absolute massive thing. I think it's an amazing thing to have like an instinct, like a safety and instinct when you know something's going wrong. And also, more to the point, like how to get yourself out of a situation if something happens to you, which is, I think, is why I'm so like not scared about traveling, because so many people are like, especially now that I'm like solo, loads of people are like, oh my god, are you not scared of like, are you going to even have holidays anymore because you're going to be on your own? Yeah, of course I am, like, because I'm not stupid and I'm not scared. Like, if anything, God forbid, happened to me, I know that I've got a survival instinct that would just kick in, and my knowledge, and I would probably, well, I don't know whether this for sure because it's never happened, but I'd like to think that I'd be able to help other people as well. Anyway, that was a really long-winded like explanation, but basically when stuff happens in the world I really feel it, and I think it's because of this why I feel it so deeply. But basically, like whenever there's a terror attack in the world, or whenever there's like like all the shootings in France and Austria and stuff in the last few weeks, I just felt it so deeply and just wasn't scared but really sad for like people who lost their lives so close to Christmas. And honestly, I just feel it awfully. And the Manchester bombings that happened a couple of years ago was the worst one. Like, it was awful. It took me a good week to shake that off. And so after the Tier 4 news last night, I've woken up this morning and a lot of my followers on Bella Blogs are absolutely devastated. a lot of people who aren't even in tier 4 areas are now cancelling their Christmas plans because they haven't got enough time to get there and back in one day, and things like that. It's just horrendous. But I just wanted to use this time here in this platform just to chat about being grateful for what you've got. And Christmas isn't the same for anybody this year. I can pretty much guarantee that. But we still need to practice like gratitude and just be thankful that we're even alive. And those of you that may have had COVID, like this year, be even more grateful you're alive, because it's killing a lot of people. It's heartbreaking. I think it's really important to have compassion and not empathy. I think as an empath, like which I am working on, I tend to take other people's problems and just stick them on my shoulders, and tend to carry people a lot. A lot of people in my life see me as really strong, which I like to think I am, but underneath it all, I literally have the weight of the world on my shoulders all the time. I think this applies to business as well. I think in business you have to be understanding and compassionate, but not empathetic. And that's where business people get really stressed out, because they tend to carry like their employees or their customers or like anybody's sort of problems on their own shoulders when they've already got enough to deal with, and they end up like feeling like they live under a rock because they've got so much weight on them. Whereas if you are a boss in whatever company, you need to be understanding and compassionate rather than empathetic, because if you're empathetic, you will carry everybody else's shit on your shoulders. But if you're compassionate, you can understand and be there for them in the same way that an empath would, but you don't take it with you. You leave it with them. Leave everybody else with their shit, and you deal with your own shit. And that's basically my Sunday morning thoughts.
So now I'm gonna start working on the sort of behind the scenes of my Etsy shop. If anyone's looked at it since the last vlog, it is an absolute mess. So please just ignore it and know that it was a work in progress when you had a look. Today I'm going to try and split this down into categories for you as I go along. I'm also going to do a bit of screen recording as well, so that you can see what I'm doing at the same time. I'm going to try and keep it short and snappy and to the point, because I do have a tendency to ramble on a little bit. So yeah, I hope this is helpful, and if there's anything else that I haven't covered in this section of the vlog that you'd like to know, leave me a message down below, or comment down below, or send me a message on Instagram, and I'll try my hardest to get back to you. Well, I will get back to you, because, you know, lockdown life, got loads of time. Also, I'm really sorry about the lighting in here at the moment. It is such a grey day outside, so I'm just using the natural daylight that I've got at the moment while it's like light. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is just download my CSV files. Now, the CSV files are basically what you've sold, who you've sold it to, and how much you've sold it for. So basically, to find your CSV files, and you'll need these for when you're doing a tax return if you're in the UK, or whatever the equivalent is in the US, basically just to show how many sales you've had. And then from there, once you've got that CSV file downloaded and you can see what you've done, you can then extend out your spreadsheet and add your costs, and then add a profit and a loss. Hopefully you won't have the loss column into it as well. You can also extend it and add on your packaging costs, your delivery charges, etc. So once you've got your CSV file, this really does become your Bible in terms of like your sales. Okay, so to find your CSV files, and you can download them all from like all the different months that you've had. So I'm going to download November's one at the moment, just because we're not at the end of December yet. So to find that, you go into the Finances tab under your Shop Manager. You then go into your Payment Account, and that will bring up what you've got available for deposit, all your sort of like your fee history, and then if you scroll right down to the bottom, it should come up with December 2020 or November 2020, etc., etc. You can click on See Monthly Statements. Once you're in there, if you click on November 2020, it'll bring up the monthly statement for 2020, and you'll be able to see all your transactions there. At the top where it says all activities for November 2020, if you click on Generate CSV, it'll email you when your CSV file is ready to download. These CSV files are really good because it tells you all the Etsy charges that are on there as well, so it takes into account everything that you've paid per listing. So that's how you get your CSV files off Etsy. So the next bit I'm going to show you is your actual listings itself. So anyone who's experienced on Etsy watching this, you probably know all this already, but this was something that I really found helpful when I was first setting up my Etsy shop. Basically, the best thing I can say to you is organise your listings in advance of when you're thinking of going live. With the Etsy shops, they charge you 20 US cents then. I don't know, the equivalent of about 16p every time you upload a listing. Now, my tip is to upload your listings separately. So, for example, all my candles are the same. They're the same spec. They're the same, height and weight and all the rest of it. So it will be easy for me to just have one listing and then have multiple options for the fragrances. However, that doesn't really, in my experience, work good for the search engine optimization on Etsy, which I'll go into a little bit more in a second. So what I do is, even though all my candles are the same, I upload them as separate listings. Yes, this may cost you a little bit more, but you will get that back in your sales anyway. Go to your shop manager. If you click on listings and then go to add a listing, in there you've got options to add your photos, add a video if you would like, which I haven't at the moment. Then in your title you need to include, obviously you need to include the title of your product, like the name of your product, but you can also cram that full of keywords as well, but just make sure it makes sense. So for example, my Berlin candle, which is called Scent from Berlin, it's a candy cane fragrance and it's made from soy wax, which is also vegan friendly. So in my title, I will put Scent from Berlin as the main, the first thing that people see. Then I put candy cane scented soy wax candle, comma, vegan friendly, comma, organic. In that way, people are seeing, the buyer is seeing the first bit. They know it's a scented candle, they know it's called Berlin, which is unique to your brand. They also know the fragrance, but then the Etsy SEO is picking up on the soy wax, the vegan friendly and the eco-friendly candle part of the title. You've then got your description, which in there is another way to maximise the SEO. So be as genuine, as possible, obviously, without if you cram it full of keywords and it doesn't make sense, Etsy's going to pick that up and just throw you to the bottom of the list. So it has to flow as well as be genuine. Then in the tags and materials sections, even though this comes up as optional, you need to fill these bits in because this will also help boost your listing up the ranks. So everything that your product is needs to go in there. So for example, if you're selling custom digital prints, you need to put in there in your tag custom digital print. You need to make sure that you cram as much tags in there as you can, but make them specific to your product, which will make your product easier to find. The next bit is inventory and pricing. You can put your stock in there, make sure you're accurate with your stock and don't do what I did in the last vlog. Your SKU, you can just make something up there. If you offer variations, you can add your variations there. If you offer personalisation, you can also add your personalisation. And we'll talk about delivery in the next point. The next and final thing I'm going to tell you about in this vlog is the delivery costs. Now, if you're an Etsy seller or you've been an Etsy seller in the UK this Christmas, 2020, it has been a nightmare with Royal Mail. Where to start? So with Brexit, with COVID, with Christmas, deliveries all jamming up the postal system this year. We have had major delays, we've had things go missing. Some people on the Facebook Etsy groups in the UK here have had parcels arriving but they've been empty, like people have been robbing stuff out. Anyway, it's been an absolute nightmare. So what I've found this year as this started to come to light is I pulled my last delivery date forward or backwards, whichever way, earlier anyway. So my last dispatch date was the 15th of December this year, which is quite early. I was planning originally on going to the 20th, knowing that I'd be able to offer like an upgraded track service, 24-hour track service. But I didn't do that. I didn't want to chance it. I also didn't want to add to the pressure and the volume of what these posties are putting up with at the minute just for my own gain. It didn't sit right with me. So now I've learned what I've learned about offering track services and things like that, because even before this date, so even before the 15th of December, especially in the north of England, so the northwest and the northeast, sort of the very beginning of December, I had a lot of second class mail parcels, which is like the £3.10 service. I had a lot of them that were taking sort of 7 to 10 days to arrive, and normally it's between 3 and 7. So I was starting to get a bit unnerved, and to be honest with you, it's just not worth it for me. I would rather post something and charge my customer for it knowing they're going to receive it. On Etsy you can set up delivery profiles, and that's for each product you sell. So for example, for me, I sell candles and wax melts. My candles go in a 5x5 cubed postal box and then inside a postal bag, so it is definitely not going to fit through a letterbox. Depending on how many wax melts I sell to a customer will depend on whether it can go through the post box or not. So you have to take this into account when you're setting up your delivery profiles. So let's talk about the candle boxes first. So in that I offer second class, first class and signed for first class, which is like the 48-hour tracked. Now, if you're not offering free delivery, which you can do, but make sure you include the cost of delivery in your product price. But I don't offer free delivery. I want to be very transparent about the delivery charges. And I think most people will just pay the delivery charges anyway because they know they're getting it through the mail. They know how much it costs, and up to now I've had no problems at all with any delivery charges. I don't make any profit on the delivery at all. I pass it on to my customer at cost price, which I think is absolutely fair enough. So what I do is I create 3 profiles on my candles, and when it comes to adding on the delivery charges, they can click down to see which delivery profile they want to pick. When your order comes through, it will tell you which delivery they've paid for, and as long as you uphold that, that is just straightforward business. You know, there's no issue with that at all. So let's talk about the wax melts now, and also multiple candles. So my candles weigh 464 grams each. Now the £3.10 delivery service, as far as I know, and it has changed a few times, depends on what post office you go to, how nice your post office server is, I suppose. Times I've been charged £3.10 and other times I've been charged £3.90 because it's gone over a kilo. It's down to me to get a price list from the post office because I haven't yet done this, which I should really. But the jump is quite big when you're looking at first class. So if you're sending, like if I'm sending 2 or more candles out, I have to be careful that I'm not getting overcharged, or I'm undercharging my customer. The good thing about Etsy is you can add on a fee for additional items. So what I mean by that is, say for example, if someone came along to my shop and they wanted to buy 3 candles from me, they would pay the £3.10 on second class, and then I would charge them 50p for every additional candle after that. So that will then cover the higher price, you know, so you have to make sure that you allow for this. I'm going to look into mine a bit more today after I film this video and just make sure that my costings are correct, because I don't think they actually are at the minute. I have been a little bit out of pocket, especially my last dispatch date, because I upgraded everybody's orders from second class to first class just out of the goodness of my heart, just because I really wanted them to have the best chance of getting there before Christmas. And touch wood, they all have now except one, which has been up in the Liverpool area again. So with wax melt, I do the same thing. So for one wax melt, which will go through a letterbox, that gets posted as a large letter. I do get a tracking number with that as well, which is fantastic. So that is what I send it as. Now, if I'm sending 2 or more, it then goes down as a small parcel, which is then becomes the £3.10 service. Now, that seems like a lot to me for 2 wax melts, but so far everybody's paid it and there's no other way around it for me. I'm not keen on using Hermes, I'm not keen on looking at DPD or anything just yet, just because I'm not big enough at the moment. But maybe that's something I'll look into in the future when my business grows. I think the moral of this is, with delivery costs, as long as you are transparent with your customer about what service they're paying for, you know, put it in black and white, because you will get customers who will be like, oh, they haven't come yet, when they've paid for second class and they're expecting it on a next day delivery. You can then screenshot your policy and what they've paid for and send it to them. And then if they decide to open a case against you, you've got the proof for Etsy to say, this is what they paid for, this is what my description is. It's up to them to read it. It's not your responsibility. As long as you've put it on there, it's not your responsibility to know whether or not they've read it. It's theirs. So I hope this vlog has helped you, just with a little bit of your admin. Like I say at the end of all these businessy type vlogs, and I think they're going to go on for a little while longer now, if there's anything else that you want to know, if there's anything else that will help you, please leave me a comment below or send me a message on Instagram, and I will be more than happy to see if I can help you. So I hope you like this video. If you have, give it a like and all that jazz, and I will see you next time. Bye!